I'm Christine, and welcome to your joyful yoga practice. Whether you are here to celebrate a moment of joy or to cultivate more joy inside of yourself, you are in the right place. Let us begin with breath of joy. How appropriately named, right? So you can stand with your feet maybe more like shoulder width apart versus what we normally do in yoga with your feet being hip distance apart. So we'll start here. And the way that breath of joy works is that it's actually 3 inhales followed by 1 long exhale. And then we do this with some arm movements, and then we're going to drop down. So I'll show you what I mean. And you can make a little bit of noise on this. You can breathe out of your mouth on the exhale. You can even kind of use some voice and you can do whatever you like. And it's 3 inhales through the nose and exhale out of the mouth. So the 3 inhales have 3 arm movements. We go in, again, in, another time in, and then you exhale out, bend your knees and drop it down. Right? So it starts to have this swinging, momentous movement to it, and it's very triumphantly joyful. So let's do this. We are going to do, let's say, 5 rounds of joy of breath together. All right? So come on here with me. Let's do 3 inhales, 1 long exhale. One more. If there's anything that's going to invigorate you, it's going to be that. All right, so let's now come into a goddess-like position. So you'll have your feet out wide and your toes turned out slightly, your heels turned in, right? And as you bend your knees, see if you can bend them out so that they're more or less pointing out in the same direction as your toes. Good. And in goddess pose, we come into goddess arms, little cactus arms here, getting a little squeeze of the shoulder blades behind us, tailbone tucking underneath us. We try to sit the spine down directly between the legs. Good. As you inhale, you can straighten your arms and your legs. Just get nice and tall. And then exhale, bend the elbows like you want to squeeze those shoulder blades behind you. Bend your knees, settle down again. Inhale, straighten up. Exhale, bend and squeeze. And one more, just like that. And exhale. Good. This time, as you inhale, come over to one side. And then exhale back into it. Inhale to the other side. Exhale back in. Keep going. Good. This time we're going to settle into the stretch. So go ahead and stretch over to one side, even rest your hand on the leg and really reach out of the hip through the arm to the fingertips, getting really, really long. You can use a little suction cup-like action with your feet so that your legs are still engaged. Good. Come back to goddess pose. And then again, side stretch to the other side this time, finding more length even from your foot to your hip, from your hip to your shoulder, from your shoulder to your fingertips. Try smiling. If you want to cultivate some joy, you probably got to smile. Beautiful. One more time, goddess pose. Settling in here for a moment. We're going to do some cat-cow-like movements in the spine. As you inhale, roll the shoulders back, bring the arms back, puff up the chest, even lift your chin slightly. And then as you exhale, round your spine, round the arms forward, touch your fingertips together in front of you. Inhale, open up, creating space for more joy. And then exhale, bow into it. Inhale, open. Exhale, bow. In. And exhale. And just one more like that. Exhale. Good. Come back to goddess pose one more time. Sit down between your hands. Take a nice deep breath in. Stay for the exhale. And inhale, straighten it all up. And relax the arms down. Good. Come to a stand at the top of your mat. This time your feet can be hip distance apart, right? So kind of like the bony part of your hip in the front here. I want the middle of your foot to land more or less underneath that spot. Your feet are more or less parallel. I say more or less because, well, everybody's different, right? My feet are shaped funny, so if I go parallel, I go, well, hold on, what am I doing parallel with what line here, you know? So yeah, you just want to be sure your toes are pointing forward, your heels are back. As you inhale, reach for the sky, get nice and tall. And then as you exhale, swan diving down, folding over your legs. Inhale, flatten out the back, roll the shoulders back, get a little bit more space in your spine. And then as you exhale, come on down, touch the ground with your fingertips, even if that means you're bending your knees. But try to keep those sit bones lifting high, and there's a deep crease there in the front of the hip. Relax your head, give it a little shake, yes and no. Good, and then from here, we'll step back to a plank pose. You can get both feet back. Plant your hands nice and firm. You can always have your knees on the ground for this as you tone up your belly, bring the shoulders back. And you're looking at the space right beneath your face, right? So you're not like craning your head up and shortening the back of the neck. You want to keep it long. Take a nice deep breath in. On your exhale, bend your elbows close to your body and lower your whole body to the ground in one shot. Point the toes back. Roll the shoulders back. And then inhale into a little cobra pose, just lifting your chest, looking at the top edge of your mat. Exhale and release. And again, inhale, little lift. Exhale down. One more time. And release. Good. You can tuck your toes, push up onto your knees, and then with your toes tucked, push your bum towards your heels. Reach out of your hands for downward dog like arms. Fingers are spread wide, the knuckles are down, and then roll the arm bones back, getting broader across the top of the shoulders. And then from there, with strong arms and shoulders, lift your knees and come into your downward facing dog. You can pedal out your heels. To me, joy in the body just feels like creating some space. It's like making room for the joy. Just make some space. Make some space in your legs, in your hips, and the sides of the body especially, so that there's nice and free back breath. So press down through your hands. Feel that length up the arms, through the armpits, down the sides of the waist, all the way up to the hips. You can have a little bend in your knees with the heels up high, and just try to get those bum cheeks up a little bit higher here. Take a nice deep breath in. Let out a big ah. Good. Let's round the spine forward to a plank pose again, coming all the way forward. And now take your right hand to the center of your mat and just a little bit forward. Roll onto the outer edge of your right foot. And take your left hand up. Now, you have a few options here with your legs. For extra support, you take your top foot and place it in front of your hips. Right? That'll take some of the weight out of your shoulder and help you find a bit more ease. Another option is to just sort of stack one foot in front of the other on the mat. Or if you're really feeling it, you can put both feet together. Sway the hips up high, and now take that top arm up and overhead. Create that space again. Good. Sway the hips high, roll the shoulders back, maybe even start to turn your heart open and look up to the sky. Give it a little bit more space here for a little bit more joy. Turning up the corners of your mouth while you shake. Good. Beautiful. From here, let's go ahead and take that bottom leg, bend the knee, put the knee on the floor. You'll have your toes turned out to the side, so your right toes are on the floor beside your mat. Your left leg is straight towards the back of your mat, and then you can come stand up on the knee. Good. Back foot here is parallel with the outer edge of your mat. Hands at the height of the shoulders. Get a little squeeze in your bum as you tuck your tailbone and tone your lower belly. Inhale, both arms up. And then you exhale, arch over to the left side. You can rest your left hand on your leg, reach out of your right fingertips. Space from the knee to the hip, to the armpit, to the fingers, and smiling. Good. Inhale and come back up. Relax the arms. Good, and let's take plank on the other side. So I'm going to do plank facing the back of my mat. And then take that left hand to the center and a little bit ahead. Turn onto the outer edge of the left foot. And then you want to try and take the same stance on this side as you did on the first side. Let's review. Front foot can be in front of your hips. You can have both feet, one stacked in front of the other, or one foot stacked on top of the other. Sway the hips high, Take the arm up and even reach it up and overhead, rolling the shoulders back, lifting the gaze up high, maybe teetering and tottering a little bit, smiling through the shaking, enjoying the strength of your body. Joy comes from gratitude. I'm grateful for my breath. I'm grateful for this strong body. I'm grateful for this moment. Good. And then slowly we'll turn it into gate pose. So let's get that left knee on the floor this time. Straighten out the right leg and come to stand up. Good. So your right toes are pointing straight out to the side. You've got the outer edge of your foot pressing down. Good. Inhale, arms up. Squeeze the bum, get tone in the belly. Exhale, arch to the right. Reach out with that left hand and smile. Good. Inhaling back up, hands at the height of the shoulders. And exhale, relax. Good. Come on down into a child's pose. You can open your knees wide. Touch your big toes together. Start to walk your hands forward as you then bow the chest down towards the ground, relaxing the forehead, the third eye space to the ground. Take a couple of breaths there as you settle in. Joy is a choice. It's a choice, just like any other emotion, any other feeling. Choosing how we want to feel, choosing how we react to situations. Setting that intention. If I want this to be a joyful practice, all I need to do is say, today it's a joyful practice. And there it is. And we start bringing smiles to everything we do. And lift your head and take your right arm and thread the needle. So bring it down to the left, settle onto the right shoulder. Turn your head to the left so that you're on your right temple. And just let your body weight settle down into the shoulder. Making these choices and having these intentions is not to be mistaken with being delusional. Life does get hard and things are not always joyful. But there still is some truth behind knowing that it's a choice. How I feel right now, if I stop and I regroup for a moment, I might have some influence over it. It doesn't always have to be a reaction. Sometimes it can be an intention. And slowly lift back up and let's change sides. Let's thread the needle with the left arm, settle onto the left temple, settle into that left shoulder, and breathe. Good, and gradually coming back to center, child's pose. You can either have the arms forward, or if you're more comfortable starting to drape them back now, you can. And taking this last moment together in our practice to set an intention not only for the time that we spend on our mat, but for the time that we will now spend as we step off of the mat. So no matter what your activities are after today's practice, decide now before you roll into them, before you even get caught up by them. Decide now what the intention is. How is it that you wish to feel? What is it that you wish to cultivate inside of yourself? Deciding now to practice patience, to be loving, to be kind. Deciding now to choose joy no matter what happens. Infusing the rest of your day with this intention. Bring your hands under your shoulders. Gently press yourself up to sitting. And bring your hands to prayer, the center of your heart, eyes closed. Feeling your heart beating in your chest, feeling your breath upon your fingertips. May you feel a little more joyful now than you did when you first came to class. And may you have intention for the rest of your day. Namaste.